Monday, July 7th, here on the Just Baseball Show. That's Aram Leighton, and I am Peter Apple. Aram, get those damn fingers ready because it's time for the weekend roundup where we go through every game that was over the past weekend with all of our takeaways. And it's all brought to us by the sportsbook born in Vegas. Remember, folks, download BetMGM, whether that be on iOS or Android, and use promo code JUSTBASEBALL. Why? First bet offer up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if your first wager loses. But remember, gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 21 years or older. Terms and conditions apply. Aram, I know we're going to go over the entire weekend, but Sunday, I felt like that was one of the best baseball days of the year just because we got so many aces. Every single time I would turn the channel to a different game, I was watching an absolute missile of a pitcher. A lot of
Yep.
low scoring, great pitching matchups. Just a great weekend for baseball.
Oh, no doubt. A lot of just good matchups in general too. Just some good series. But I mean, being able to get to see Shinizuki Ogasawara back on the bump, you get Brandon Woodruff back on the bump. It was a really well-rounded day across the league. But no, it's there's some we talk about it like Jack always talks about the League Pass thing, where it's like you can scroll around like who's fun to watch on NBA League Pass, and you have like a rating scale basically. When you have days like this, you can just bounce around and you're getting sick pitching matchups from game to game to game. And what I like is it's not just like the forever known aces, right? Like all of a sudden now Edward Cabrera is a fun pitcher to tune into to watch. This reinvented Brandon Woodruff that we're going to talk about was just a joy to watch. And then you have some other emerging arms, and then of course still the classic aces. So it was really fun across the game on Sunday.
And I'm glad that you and I are on the show today because I don't want to inflate Jack's head more than it already is. But I got to say, it fires me up so much listening to him on the audio or on the radio while I'm watching the
Yeah.
broadcast.
When you
Because
can, it's so cool that you can switch it on MLB TV
you
and
talk,
like switch the audio for the radio broadcast because then it syncs up. It's sick.
you taught me how to do that. I didn't know that you could do that on MLB TV. I learned this like a month ago. You know what I've been doing? I've been watching the Marlins game and then have my phone, so I'll turn it on mute, and then I'll have my phone like sitting here so I can listen to
Yeah, and
Jack.
you got to like pause
Yeah.
one, like line it up, and then it overlaps. So then you got to pause the other one. I had to do that before too.
But I was
But
happy to because it's so much fun listening
yeah,
to him. It's just such a crazy moment every single time I do it. So, but thank you for teaching me how to work MLB TV. You'd think I know how to use it after,
it's
maybe
just one of those
starting a
features
baseball company.
you'd never bother with. But like, let me
Yeah.
turn on the radio broadcast of this other game. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm okay. But now I hope everybody's ripping that now that to listen to Jack when the Marlins are playing.
Absolutely. You want to get into the Marlins series first, or you got another series
No,
on
I got
tap?
Red Sox Nats to start off, which is a beauty because we've got some news and headlines after Game Three.
Yep.
But Game One was Lucas Giolito versus Mike Soroka, and it was all Red Sox, headlined by a 7-run fifth inning. Six different hitters had multi-hit games, including a 4-hit performance by Trevor Story, which included a homer. Jaron Duran, Roman Anthony, Abraham Toro, and Carlos Narvaez each had multiple hits. It was an 11-2 final. How about Lucas Giolito as well? 7 2/3 innings of one-run ball. He struck out seven. Soroka was roughed up for 7 earned over 4 innings. So that was the offensive onslaught in game one, but it didn't really slow down for the Red Sox throughout this series. Game two, Walker Buehler versus Mitchell Parker. Another big offensive game for the Sox. This time it was a 7-run third inning. Romy Gonzalez led the way with 3 hits. Ceddanne Rafaela was 2 for 4 with a home run and another multi-hit game in this one by Roman Anthony. Great bounce back start for Walker Buehler. 5 innings of 2-run ball, no walks, and 2 Ks. I think the no walks has to be really encouraging to keep building on that. Mitchell Parker went 6 innings of 4-run ball, 1 walk, and 4 strikeouts. Then we move on to game three. And this one at least was a little bit closer. But Garrett Crochet versus Shinizuki Ogasawara. You would have thought this would be a little bit more lopsided, but of course, because baseball's so weird, this ends up being the closest game of the series. Still, the Red Sox blitzed Ogasawara for 4 runs in the first inning, in large part to a 2-run shot by Trevor Story before a rain delay puts a slight halt on things. Then, after returning to action, the Nationals kept it a little bit closer with RBI hits from Paul DeJong and Brady House. But then Ceddanne Rafaela went deep in the ninth with a big insurance run, staying red hot before Jordan Hicks picked up the save, though the Nats did claw back for one run in the ninth. 6-4 final in that one. Red Sox sweep. It wasn't Crochet's best outing, 5 innings of 9 hit, 2 run, 2 walk, 7K ball. But Ogasawara really struggled in his return, 2 and 2/3 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned, 2 strikeouts. All of a sudden, the Red Sox are back over 500, and the Nationals drop to 37 and 53. Before we talk about them cleaning house from the front office to their manager, I do want to just quickly talk about the Red Sox. I know that for good reason, like the Nationals are cleaning house right now. They are the team they're the get right series right now. That said, it's Major League Baseball team. And when we're talking about guys getting acclimated to the big leagues, I think it's still incredibly encouraging to see what Roman Anthony's doing. Because it wasn't just this series either. He's been really heating up, dating back to that Blue Jay series. And has put together good at-bats through the Red series. And now, not including Sunday, he had an 8-game stretch of 13 hits, 5 doubles, and then, of course, a strong game on Sunday as well. Trevor Story coming to life a little bit as well. And then Ceddanne Rafaela is really blossoming before our eyes. Just the way he's controlling his at-bats has been really impressive. So all of a sudden, this Red Sox offense is sparking a little bit. I do think some of that is the fact that they played the Nats, but looking at the individuals, I think it does actually point towards better days ahead offensively for the Red Sox when you have Rafaela really swinging it and starting to break through, Roman Anthony settling in at the big league level, and then Trevor Story just looking more like Trevor Story again. I think you could buy into all of those things, whether they were playing a AAA team or, the best team in baseball.
100%. I was excited to talk about the Red Sox on, the roundup because, yeah, the Nationals, they cleaned house after the game. It's not exactly a great team right now, but it is hard to sweep a team when you're on the road. And the Red Sox did that. And you talked about the hitting performances. How about some of the pitching performances? I mean, it just goes to show like this was one of the worst performances by Garrett Crochet all year long, and he gave up 2 earned, right? Because he still has the unbelievable strikeout stuff. He's a pure ace in our game. Walker Buehler having that bounce back start. But Lucas Giolito has just kind of been a dog for a little bit now. Ever
Yep.
since he got blitzed by the Angels back on June 4th, he gave up 7 earned in 1 2/3. His next 4 starts, 25 innings, only 2 earned. And then in that start against the Nats, goes 7 2/3, 1 earned, 7 punchouts. The changeup is working. I mean, we see it with Lucas Giolito. When the fastball's going up and the changeup's going low, he's tough to hit. And that's what I think the Red Sox expected when they signed him. Of course, dealing with injuries, now getting resettled in. But you're starting to see the Lucas Giolito that I think Craig Breslow imagined.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we thought maybe that could be a guy that would benefit from some Arsenal tweaks and also just getting healthy. And I mean, him starting to throw well is huge for them. You get Walker starting to piece it together again and get going, and all of a sudden the rotation starts to look a little bit stronger because, again, you have Garrett Crochet, who even on his off days is going to give you a chance to win when your offense is swinging it the way that it is. The national side of things, you brought up the point, I think that was like, it was sparked by I think a Foolish Baseball tweet about just how the Nationals have not. This was a few shows ago, maybe even like 2 weeks ago. Now it all blurs together.
Yeah, oh yeah.
But about how outside of the Wood trade, the James Wood trade, it really hasn't been good otherwise. And the more you dive into that, and like, because some people might be saying, well, why would they clean house? You have all these building blocks. All of a sudden, it looks like this team could be pretty good in a year or two. Yeah, I still think that's the case, but basically the only building blocks, as you had mentioned at the last episode or a few episodes ago, was from cashing in the most valuable asset maybe that was ever traded. And they did well on that, no doubt about it. But I think a lot of people could do well in securing that return and not whiffing there. The other side of it is everything else. Because I look at it also going into this year and what's happened this year, they've been lifeless on the field. And that goes from manager all the way up to front office. But even all of the individual moves that they've made, right? Trading for Nathaniel Lowe has just not aged well for them at all. And that's money that ownership had to be probably sold on taking on because he wasn't cheap. That's how they were able to acquire him for a little prospect capital, right? They traded a reliever for him. Josh Bell is just not a good signing. Their draft picks in recent years have not been good, except for the layup that was Dylan Cruz, and you're still waiting for that to totally come together. The Keibert Ruiz extension is atrocious. You look at the pitching side of things. Aside from Gore, who they acquired, and a buy low opportunity here with Mike Soroka, who's still all of a sudden now has an ERA north of 5, they have not been able to get it, like lock in a good starter here. If you want to date it back a little bit too, Patrick Corbin deal was atrocious. Like you look at the bullpen, they have not really secured valuable bullpen arms. And I think you just look move after move after move, the state of the farm system, the draft. There haven't been a lot of savvy, smart or just moves in general that have aged well. So I think when you look at it, aside from the Juan Soto deal, which great, that was, I think probably bought him even more time. I mean, there really hasn't been anything positive otherwise, unless I'm missing something.
I don't have anything to add. You covered it perfectly. And the only thing I would add is what happened. Mike Rizzo, the general manager of the Washington Nationals, got fired, as did Dave Martinez, the manager of the Nationals. And that's what Aram was talking about, and I was talking about earlier about cleaning house. It's crazy because Rizzo has been with the Nationals organization since 2006.
Yeah, well,
Martinez has been the manager since 2018. And now those comments rubbed me the wrong way.
I'm sure it rubbed the clubhouse the wrong way too. It's not like that got him fired up or anything or playing
Yeah,
better.
exactly. Like you would think maybe, they would burst out of that. No, it just put them into a tailspin, especially with a young team like that. What were you expecting
What was the point?
to
I
happen?
don't know.
So it almost felt like now looking back on it, Dave Martinez was probably saw he was not going to last very
Yeah,
long
he
and
saw
was
the
just
writing on the wall
trying to
there for
cover his
sure.
ass,
Well,
really.
and their biggest player, the player who's made the biggest leap, James Wood, like, and I wrote about the swing changes he made, around this time last year that catapulted him in the number one prospect in baseball conversation for us and all that good stuff. I'm pretty sure he worked with a third party hitting coach, got himself there that way. Like their hitting or their player development infrastructure just hasn't been good at all. That's something that I've even noted just perusing through the backfields there and watching the way they go about their business. Look at the way some of their prospects have stalled out. You can't, like Elijah Green right now, they demoted to the complex league the other day.
That's
So
bad.
he's playing back down at the complex. And I really want to see him succeed, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. So it's a really tough spot to be. And it's a spot that I think you rarely see executives get this much runway. Rizzo earned it by winning a World Series and things like that, but it's been a lot of bad for a while now and just not a lot of good moves. And remember, like they cashed in on Trey Turner, they cashed in on Scherzer, they cashed in on a lot of other guys that they have little to show for that.
Yeah.
So I think that's an important aspect of this thing too. Like you should have more to show for it when you're trading some of those pieces that they have traded. So I think it's good for the Nationals, kind of a new era, right? You flip the page, you have your number one overall pick, you have some core pieces here, and you have somebody else in charge now to try to get this thing right.
Yeah, I did comment under Jeff Passan's tweet. I was actually doing a number one overall pick research to potentially make a bet on BetMGM. And then I get the alert that Rizzo and Dave Martinez were fired. And I'm thinking to myself, whoa, optics on that are crazy. In a week from now, you have the number one overall pick. And now I know it's a whole team, right, who make these decisions. The GM normally has the final call. So I understand that doesn't just screw up their entire draft room. I just thought the optics of it were crazy. In a week from now, you're going to go draft the number one overall pick, and now the GM and the manager are gone. I just thought
Yeah,
it was
I
crazy
think they
timing.
literally that's like
Yeah.
turning the page.
Yep.
Like they're gonna use that number one pick moment as like this, like to signify new times here.
Yeah.
And because otherwise, yeah, it is like that's a big shift. They already know who they're taking, I'd imagine, or at least they have their scenarios played out. Ownership's locked in on it, and they're gonna turn that page, and it's gonna be that new era there, which I think will be good,
Me too.
depending on whoever they end up selecting.
We'll see.
We'll get to the next series, which is Marlins Brewers, which is a really good series.
It was.
Game one was a fun one. Quinn Priester versus Sandy Alcantara. It was a back and forth contest with the Brewers creating some separation behind a 2-run second inning and a 3-run fourth inning on RBI knocks from William Contreras, Caleb Durbin, and Joey Ortiz. Durbin has really started to come alive of late. A Connor Norby homer in the fourth and an Otto Lopez 2-run homer in the fifth tied things up at 5 before Jackson Chorio's go-ahead double in the eighth put the Brewers back up at 6-5. And once that happens, it's really hard to come back against the Brewers because Abner Uribe gives you one inning, Tyler McGill gives you one inning, and that shuts the door. Marlins lose that one, Brewers win 6-5. Quinn Priester was okay, 4 2/3, 7 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 4 Ks. Sandy Alcantara, I feel like I'm saying this too much, so I almost don't want to say it, but one bad bounce really did shift the line. That's what
I mean, it
happens
did.
when you're
I
not a
watched I watched the game. That it did happen.
It did happen this time. Like 6 innings, 5 hits, 5 earned, 1 walk, 4 Ks. But the ground ball that would have got him out of it
Yeah.
bounced off his leg, went over to the right side where nobody was. 2 runs came in. Would have been a bit different. But I was actually talking about this that as it happened when I was at dinner with some friends, and I'm like, that's what happens though when you're not a big strikeout guy. Like there's just going to be games where you get unlucky a little bit
Yeah.
more. It's just how it goes. And unfortunately, that was pretty much the difference in that game. But the Marlins did put up a good fight, made McGill work for the save, but it wasn't quite enough. Game 2, Chad Patrick versus Cal Quantrill in the battle of the gets outs guys.
Dogs.
The Brewers drew first blood with a rare Rhys Hoskins triple, his first since June 2022, which also was against the Marlins.
Huh.
That came off of legend Daniel Castano, by the way. Marlins
Legend.
All Star
Using
Kyle Sta-
legend.
That's a
Using
crazy.
legend loosely.
Yeah, he's retired recently, I think. Marlins All Star Kyle Stowers tied things up with a solo shot in the second, and a Liam Hicks double gave them the lead. Isaac Collins tied it back up with an RBI single in the fourth before Agustin Ramirez put the Marlins ahead with a 2 RBI single in the eighth. I could hear Jack like on the edge of his seat for that, which is so funny to me, just because like I'm like, oh, he's starting to really believe now that this team's
Hell
going
yeah.
on
He
a
should.
mega
They're
run.
they're playing really well.
They are. They are. Lake Bacher picked up his first career save. Marlins win 4-2. Cal Quantrill, 3 2/3 because they just refused to let him go deep. 6 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, 6 Ks. Chad Patrick was good again, though. 5 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, 1 walk, 2 Ks.
Chad Patrick will get there one day, but he's not Quantrill
He's
yet.
not
I mean, he
Quantrill
doesn't
level
have
yet.
the ability to, no matter what Quantrill does on the mound, his team is going to win. Patrick has the makings of the ultimate get outs guy, but I mean, what
Not
can
there
you do?
yet.
You're facing off against a legend, right?
Yeah.
There's Randy Johnson, there's Pedro Martinez, there's Cal Quantrill. It's
He should
just,
get the assist instead of a win. He should get an assist because clearly he does something, man. He does something. Game 3, this was the best. I thought arguably one of the best pitching matchups of the weekend of any
mm,
real game with the way both these guys threw. Brandon Woodruff in his return, which was so cool to see, versus Edward Cabrera, who kept it rolling as well. Woodruff's first MLB start since September 2023 due to shoulder surgery, I think an anterior capsule tear, but he also had 2 setbacks in rehab with an ankle sprain and then a line drive back off his elbow. So just I gotta imagine it had to just feel so good for him to get back on the mound. But he was fantastic. More on that in a moment. But Jackson Chorio's 2 run homer put the Brewers ahead 2-0 in the third inning. Alberto Hernandez got the Marlins on the board with a solo shot in the fifth. And I owe an apology. I thought the Marlins, it made no sense to call that guy up. He's been great for them. But he put the Marlins on the board and cut the lead in half. Troyo added insurance with a sac fly later in the ball game, and then the Uribe to McGill shut the door. Final score 3-1 combination. Good freaking
yeah,
luck.
see you later.
Woodruff was a dotting, man. And I
Yeah.
know he's not sitting 96 like he used to, but he dialed it up to 96 a couple times when he needed to. And
Yep.
I think that's him saying, I don't need to do that. I have it in my back pocket when I can grab it. But 6 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, no walks, 8 Ks, 70 pitches, 53 strikes. This is a Marlins offense that has been putting together really good at bats, but they were just uncomfortable. A lot of strikes looking. He was starting sinkers off the plate away, grabbing the outside corner, running it in on the hands of guys. It was so impressive to watch. But Edward Cabrera did his thing again, too. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. This guy's throwing as well as anybody in baseball right now. But the big story, I think, is Brendan Woodruff doing what he's doing. Of course, Brewers take the series as well against a hot Marlins team that had won 4 series in a row going into that. But if you have Woodruff now doing just even this, even if he's a mid-threes guy for you that can just get ground balls and throw a lot of strikes, the Brewers are in a situation now where they may have as many quality arms. They may not have a bunch of frontline arms, but you could argue that Freddie Peralta and flashes of Jacob Mizraowski can be frontline. They're like 8 deep of arms that can just give you a mid-threes ERA reasonably. And I think that is really exciting for what the Brewers have going on right now.
Yeah, the Brewers pitching lab just continues to win and win and win with the young guys, but also bringing in the right guys like Jose Quintana. And to see Brandon Woodruff come back just put a smile on my face because, we haven't seen him throw since 2023. It's a guy who's just been ravaged by injuries. And, you know, in his heyday, which I don't know what the word heyday feels like it was like in 1960s. But what
Yeah.
I mean by that is just from 2021 to 2023, I was pushing narratives for this guy as like a top 10 pitcher in baseball, and I think I was right. I mean, this
Yeah.
guy has just been dominant and the only thing that keeps him back from being in those conversations are the injuries. So to see him come back not quite with his electric stuff that we are used to, and just everything was exactly where he wanted it. And that never happens in your first start back from an injury.
No.
And the reason I think why is the Brewers handled the rehab process really, really well. He has been throwing rehab outings since April 12th. He has thrown 10 different. He has gone 5 innings or more in 4 different rehab outings. You normally don't see that long of a process. Sometimes you do, but it's not often. So the Brewers handled him really well. He comes in, 82 pitches was his high in his final rehab start. And in this one, he only needs 70 to go 6 innings, a couple of hits, that one home run, 8 punchies. God, it was good to see him back.
It was fun to watch. I saw Marlins fans like, "Oh, this guy hasn't thrown in 2 years, and this lineup's embarrassing right now."
This
Like,
is
no,
Brandon Woodruff we're
he's done.
talking about.
Also, yeah, it's not like he hasn't picked up a ball in two
Yeah.
years. He's been throwing. He just been throwing a major league game.
Yes.
He was dotting. He
Dotting.
had. It was really impressive to see. This team, man. I mean, I really hope they buy, and by buy, of course, you don't need a bullpen arm. You don't need a starting pitcher. That's a really easy way to buy at the deadline. Go get another bat if you want, and just bolster this thing up, and let's see what can happen. But they are looking really good.
Final thing. Final thing. If you are a baseball fan who listens to this show, and maybe you haven't watched much of the Brewers so far this season, please just watch an inning of Abner Uribe.
Dude,
101
that
sinker. Oh, he
I'll
is
never forget the first time I watched that guy in
otherworldly
Double A.
disgusting. I mean, he's got stuff where you're like, that's the best reliever in baseball. It's right there. I'm watching it. That's how the stuff just pops off the TV. Even if you aren't able to go watch a Brewers game, go to some YouTube highlights and just watch him punch out guys. These guys have no chance in the box. He
And
is
McGill, dude, McGill's right there
McGill's so
too.
good, but Abner just I it's
12
as
Ks
good.
per nine. Uribe is crazy.
It reminds me when I first laid eyes on Camilo Duvall for the Giants, where I'm like, holy crap, this
Yeah,
stuff is outrageous. It's the same feeling.
it's special, and they got more arms too.
Oh
That's the
yeah,
craziest part. Maybe the only team that's playing even more ridiculously well overall right now, it's got to be the Houston Astros and what they've been doing lately as well. And they really validate it by going into LA and just smacking them around. Game
smacking
one,
them.
definition of it. Lance McCullers versus Ben Kasparius. All Astros. I don't even need to give you the inning by inning. 18 runs, 20 hits. Jose Altuve launched 2 homers. And when I was talking about Altuve potentially being part of the 300 club while hitting over 300 in his career, I got some pushback on that. Oh, I don't know if he's going to hit that many homers. I don't know if the average is going to say that. I think all those things are going to happen, dude. He continues the ball, but he launched 2 homers. Christian Walker has this incredible affinity for
Busch
playing in,
Stadium.
in LA. He just owns the Dodgers in Chavez Ravine. He had 4 hits in this one, including an RBI and 4 RBI. Or sorry, a home run, an RBI and 4 RBI. A home run and 4 RBI. Jake Myers, Altuve, and Caratini each had 3-hit games. Isaac Paredes and Victor Caratini also homered. And then talk about another guy that's just great to see back out of the mound and succeeding. Lance McCullers went 6 innings of 4-hit ball, 1 run, 4 walks, 4 Ks. All Astros in that one. Go to game two. Framber Valdez versus Shohei Ohtani. You got a little bit more out of Ohtani in this one. Now 2 innings this time around. But the Dodgers got things started with a Mookie Betts solo homer in the first and a Miguel Rojas RBI single in the second. But the Astros took the lead with a 4-run third inning headlined by a Zach Short 2 RBI single. Of course, that guy's hitting for them. Yainer Diaz added a solo homer in the fourth, which proved to be a valuable insurance run as Miguel Rojas brought the Dodgers back within 1 run with a 2-run shot later after that. But Victor Caratini gave the Astros another insurance run in the top of the eighth with a sac fly, and the final score was 6-4. Ohtani was great as an opener. 2 innings, 1 hit, no runs, no walks, 3 Ks. Framber Valdez battled, though, and kept his team in it. 6 innings, 7 hits, 4 earned, 2 walks, 7 Ks. Bullpen does their thing. You go to game three here. This was one that, again, it just felt like the Astros were in the driver's seat for most of it. It was a Ryan Gusto start against Emmett Sheehan, who actually threw really well. It was
Yeah, he
the
looked good.
bullpen. Sorry?
I said he looked good. Like
Oh
Sheehan
man, he
looked
looks
good, but it
great,
didn't
and
matter.
he was dominant in his last outing in AAA to the point where it's like you're gonna waste bullets if you have him through there again. And I'm glad they had him throw in the show, but it was actually the bullpen again, surprisingly, that gave up the damage here. It was the Dodgers who scored first though on a Dalton rushing double to left, who's also starting to show some signs of life. He had 2 hits in this one, but then it was all Astros from there. Jose Altuve hit a sacrifice fly that tied it up in the third. Then it stayed that way until the top of the sixth. There was a run walked in. It was Zach Short who gets the RBI for drawing that walk. And then in the top of the eighth, that's where you started to see the distance get drawn out here. Christian Walker, of course, homered. That was a solo shot. Then Yainer Diaz homered. That was a solo shot. That made it 4-1. And then the top of the ninth, Jose Altuve got them another insurance run with a solo shot of his own. He got really hot in this series as well. Gusto, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 K. Emmett Sheehan, really, really solid outing overall still. 5 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 walk, 4 Ks. It was Tanner Scott that ended up giving up the majority of the damage, 2 earned runs in his inning, which kind of broke a really good streak for him where he'd been throwing really well lately. And then that last homer came off of Anthony Bonda. But you get a really lopsided series here. One of the bigger run differentials I think you'll have, obviously predicated on largely the 17 run gap in game one, but still one of the biggest, I think, deficits in 3 games that the Dodgers have had at home in a long time. Astros improved to 55 and 35. Dodgers drop to 56 and 35. It's just so crazy. They're still so good. But this was a statement series for the Astros, without a doubt. And if Christian Walker is swinging it like this and coming back to life, this team gets a whole lot more scary as well.
This team truly is scary. And I issued an apology on our TikTok, on our Instagram. I posted it on our Twitter. And in case you missed it, I don't mean to repeat any of it, but I think it's important for the listeners who didn't hear it. 10 games into the season, I muttered some truly stupid words. And I said, I'm not afraid of the Astros anymore, Aram. Broke it down. And you somewhat agreed with me. You were
You
like,
didn't
that's
account for
fair.
Zach Short, who went 3 for
That's
3, by the way, in game 3 as well.
And this team has been terrifying since I said that. No
They did
Tucker.
this. Sorry to interrupt. They did this without Jeremy Pena, too.
Yep. And, no Jordan, obviously, because he's been out for the majority of the season. No Jeremy Pena. I saw a hilarious comment under the TikTok that I posted that this team is being held together by duct tape and hate. I thought that was fantastic. Because, I said they weren't scary, and then because I thought the pitching would be good. I didn't think it'd be this good. The way that they're able to fill in guys without Christian Javier, without Luis Garcia, without Spencer Arrighetti, and then now without Ronel Blanco. They just put in Ryan Gusto, and what does he do? Shoves against the Dodgers. But really, Framber and Hunter Brown, I know Brown didn't pitch in the series, and Framber didn't even have one of his best outings. But those two together, I did say that they're doing their best Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling impression. They're two of the best pitchers in baseball at the top of the rotation. And then you have 3 other guys who are fine, but all they got to do is just not get crushed because this bullpen is outrageous. Josh Hader is an all-star, and deservedly so. This guy has been a monster. Brian Abreu right back to being just the demon that he is coming in the 8th, one of the best hold guys in baseball. I'm a holds appreciator. But Bennett Sousa,
Bennett Souza.
dude, this guy's awesome. And then, but it's not even just those 3. You can go down the line. I trust all of their relievers. They're one of the best defensive teams in Major League Baseball. They do all the little things. They're well managed. They're just unrelenting. And this is an organization where, we've poked fun at Dana Brown, their GM, a couple of times for some questionable moves. But I mean, and the farm system not being very good, but this team right now should be going for it, and they are just awesome to watch. And
Yep.
that's why, again, another reason why I wanted to issue the apology. Not just because they've been so good and I've been so wrong, but because I love watching them.
They're a fun team.
And I don't want to
They,
just watch them in guilt. Because I'm like, I said this team isn't scary that I'm watching them. I'm like muttering under my breath. I'm like, this team is terrifying. They are so good.
Yep. No, and they're fun to watch when you add the Cam Smith component.
Yeah.
When you add the Jeremy Pena emergence, like I know people that have their reservations against the team because of some of the history, like Most of those guys are none of them are there anymore. Jake Myers has been really fun to watch blossom this year. Isaac Paredes is always a really refreshing hitter to watch in the way that he's able to go about his business. It's a fun team. I don't think there's any way around it. And then you get the laser show out of the bullpen as well. So they're going to be a problem, and they're going to add. They may not have the best farm system in the world, but they got enough to go add, in certain spots. And I'm very interested to see what that looks like for them.
I love the way you described that. They are a problem.
Yep.
They are a
It's
problem.
going to be fun. It's going to be fun. The American League, all of a sudden, now are they the best team? Them and the Tigers, obviously, but I think they've surpassed the Yankees right now with the way they're
Easily.
playing.
The
But we'll talk
Yankees
about them later.
suck.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yeah.
about them later.
God.
My
Yeah.
last series, Royals versus Diamondbacks. Excuse me. Chris Bubich versus Eduardo Rodriguez in this one. This was the Vinny P show, though. He got the party started with a 3-run shot in the first, but then the D-backs got 2 back in the home half via Geno Suarez sac fly and a Josh Naylor single. The Royals kept their foot on the gas with 3 runs in the second as well, with Bobby Witt Jr. and Vinny P RBI singles. Then Pascantino struck again with a 2-run shot in the fourth to blow the game out of the water. Final score 9-3. Chris Bubich, 7 innings, 7 hits, 3 earned, 3 walks, 6 Ks. Erod with one of the weirdest lines you'll see. 4 and a third, 12 hits, 8 earned, no walks, 7 Ks. Game 2, Michael Wacha versus Ryan Nelson. Guess who got it going again for the D-backs? Josh Naylor, Geno Suarez, RBI singles. Each of them made it 2-0 in the third before a 2-run double by Lourdes Gurriel made it 4-0 in the fifth. The Royals plated 1 run on an RBI single from Bobby Witt Jr. in the sixth, and the D-backs extended their margin of victory via a James McCann RBI double in the seventh and a Randall Grichuk 2-run homer in the eighth. Final score 7-1. Ryan Nelson, a much needed, not for him as much, but just the Diamondbacks needed this. A strong start. Nelson has been fantastic overall this year. 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, no walks, 5 Ks. Wacha with the windy stat line, 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned, 4 walks, 4 Ks. Go to game 3. Michael Lorenzen versus Anthony Disclafani. I did not know that guy was still kicking until I saw him back in the bullpen, and he actually got the start today for the D-backs. You can kind of guess how it went overall. All Royals. Bobby Witt solo homer in the 4th inning, his 12th of the year, followed by a Salvador Perez homer, made it 2-0. John Rave and Kyle Isbell each added RBI singles to make it 4-0 and pretty much held there. Michael Lorenzen was fantastic. 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 7 Ks. Disclafani was actually okay overall, I guess. Like 4 innings, 4 hits, 4 earned, but no walks, 6 Ks. You get 2 out of 3 for the Royals there, who really needed it. And hopefully that gets them right a little bit. They still got a lot more work to do. And the Diamondbacks continue to slide a little bit as they, just try to manage all the injuries.
Yeah, this was a series that I don't have many takeaways from. And I think going into it, my expectations were like, these are 2 teams that are very disappointing to me right now. And them facing each other, I feel like I'm not going to learn much. And after watching, I feel like I didn't learn much.
Yeah,
And
not really. Other than, hey, Corbin Carroll's back healthy. Obviously, he's shaking off
that's
the
good.
rust, but it's just nice to see him back in the lineup.
And
I don't.
I,
Yeah, what else can you take?
to
I
me,
think that
really, my main takeaway is I know it wasn't a crazy offensive performance by the Royals, but they have been one of baseball's worst teams on offense this entire year. And to allow 14 runs over 4 games, I felt like that's where the Diamondbacks pitching are. Where a team like the Royals, who hasn't really hit all year, can go in and win 2 of 3 and hit a little bit because your pitching is just that weak right now. It's just, we talk about all these offensive pieces and they have so many great ones, but it's just like as soon as those bats record 3 outs, then it's time for the pitching to go out there. You just have no faith in the Diamondbacks right now. And it's not all of their fault. I mean, half their bullpen is hurt. Their 2 main guys, and Puck and Martinez, are out for the year.
Kevin
Right?
Ginkel has a 9.47 ERA.
Yeah, it's not fun watching the Diamondbacks pitch. It's fun watching them hit. But the days that they don't hit, they're done. They're done.
Which
Because
is
they
crazy
just
because honestly, I think they would have signed up for 4 runs allowed when it's Anthony Disclafani to Jalen Beeks to Bryce Jarvis, and that's the game where they don't score. You got to
yeah.
give Lorenzen credit because then he tosses it to Lucas Ursag, who has a 1.89 ERA, and then Carlos Estevez, who has a 2.13.
It's over.
But man, like if that trio for you only allows 4 runs. You got to try to win those games. You got to feel like you can get into those games, and they just couldn't get anything going offensively, unfortunately. And that gives the Royals a little bit of momentum, maybe going into their next series. But that's all I got.
That's all I got too. So before we get into my fifth series, two quick things. Number one, I assume everybody is wanting a all-star snub, all-star breakdown of the rosters today because all of them came out on Sunday, at least a lot of the reserves, the pitchers, all of that. Aram and Jack are going to do an episode tomorrow all on that. We wanted to get people to round up, and then we're going to do an all-star kind of episode tomorrow, so be on the lookout for that. The second thing is, again, the best way to support the Just Baseball show, rate and review Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your pods, 5 stars, and if you would leave a written review, that would be very, very kind because it truly is the best way to continue to support this podcast without spending a dime. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit the like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment anything. Did we say anything bad? Do you agree with anything? Let us know in the comment section below. And then, of course, if you want to join the best baseball group chat in the world, the link is in the episode description to join our Discord. It has just been popping lately. It is so much fun as we get closer to the trade deadline. We get closer to the MLB draft. And then, of course, after all that, playoffs are not so far away. I know we're just getting to the break, but in terms of signing up for the Discord, it is so much fun. And we're going to be talking baseball all year long and hopefully for the rest of our lives. All right, time to get into my first series, which is the Orioles taking on the Braves. Game one, Orioles win 3-2. Orioles got out to a 3-0 lead after 5 innings on home runs from Jordan Westburg and Cedric Mullins, and that was all they needed because the Braves just don't hit. Drake Baldwin hit his 10th home run of the year in the 6th, but it wasn't enough. Chuck Morton only allowed 2 earned and struck out 7 over 5 1/3 against his former team to secure the win. Now, shout out Spencer Strider, threw a quality start with 6 Ks, but he falls to 3-7. But he's got a 3.93 ERA. That's a good symbol of the Braves season thus far. Game two, Orioles win 9-6 in 10 innings. Austin Riley led the game off for Atlanta with a 2-run shot, but that lead was short-lived. Orioles stormed back in the third with home runs from Tyler O'Neill and Jordan Westburg. Again, homers kept flying as Matt Olson for the Braves, Colton Cowser for the Orioles traded dingers in the third and the fourth. Braves retook the lead on RBIs from Olson, Riley, and Profar, but then in the seventh, Holiday tied it back up with an RBI single, and then 2 RBI doubles from Ramon Laureano and Jacob Stallings sealed the win in
He's
the
over there.
10th. I know. I was shocked to see him too. Move over to game three. Orioles sweep, winning 2-1. Jackson Holiday opened the scoring with a 2-run shot, and that was all they needed as Trevor freaking Rogers continued his dominance, going 6 2/3, only allowing a run. Without allowing a run. Only allowing 4 hits, striking out 6, lowering his ERA to 1.57. The only Braves run was a Sean Murphy home run. Now, Grant Holmes, the Braves wasted another good start from him. 6 innings, 4 hits, 2 earned, 5 punchies. His ERA is 3.44. Aram, both of us kind of continue to wait to put the nail in the coffin for Atlanta.
No need to wait anymore.
Yeah,
This was it.
this was it.
This was it for me.
Getting
And I'm gonna
swept
say
at
that, and
home
then
by
we're
the
gonna
Orioles. I mean,
old
that's
takes exposed, and I'll get roasted when the Braves somehow. I don't even know what they'll do. They'll trade for Tirso Ornelas, and then he'll hit 800 down the stretch playing left field for them, and something will happen. But the Orioles are playing better ball, and I
they
do want
are.
to give credit. Like Charlie Morton has been throwing the ball really well.
Absolutely.
And his last 10 appearances, 45 2/3 innings, he's a 2.76 ERA. So shout out him because we were eulogizing him at 41 years old. Trevor Rogers, I'm so happy for because I think the biggest part of this is he's healthy. And I think we're seeing that like a lot of those struggles over the last year plus were injury related. He was averaging more 91, 92 with the fastball. And for a guy that has great extension and is funky and has some good fastball characteristics, getting up to 93, 94, 95 makes a huge difference. And we're seeing that. And then also just being healthy in the command, that helps a lot too. So those guys have been throwing the ball well, but you can't get swept like this at home against the Orioles. I'm sorry, it just can't happen. And I feel like there was that glimmer of hope because we're the Braves, right? Like we're gonna keep fighting. I think it's gone when I watch
Yeah.
this team. They feel lifeless.
Lifeless.
You're getting 6 innings of 2-run ball from Grant Holmes, and you can't get anything going at all. You get Jurickson Profar back in your lineup off of the suspension, and he couldn't have come out to a hotter start. You think that would spark you? You get Ronald Acuna Jr., who quite literally could not have gotten off to a hotter start coming back. You get these two spark plugs, and still everybody else is just drowning. I just they feel dead to me, and I don't really know how they're going to get it going now if you add those two guys to the lineup and it's still the same old story.
We just talked about how the Nationals cleared house. Rizzo and Dave Martinez is gone. Now, that is a much larger problem that the Nationals are dealing with, but the reason I'm bringing it up is the Braves are 2.5 games better than the Nationals are right now.
That's crazy.
They're 39-50. Now, shout out the Orioles, right? With this sweep, they improved to 40-49. I'd like to see them continue this
They're not.
before I
They're not
start
folding. They're definitely
bef-
not folding.
before I start to really praise them. But one guy I do want to praise because I can't believe that he's playing well. And maybe I'm short-sighted. Maybe I'm not a ball knower. Maybe I'm not a Michael Elias respecter. Ramon Laureano was an excellent signing this
He was.
offseason.
I hated on that move for sure. That was a miss by me. He
Sl-
looks like a great pickup for them.
Slashing 274, 346, 505 with 10 dingers. He's got an 851 OPS. He might stick around with the team and keep hitting, or they can flip him for what
Mm-hmm.
I think is going to be a pretty solid return. So it's a win-win for the Orioles.
Yeah,
They
there's a
either
club
keep him
option for 6.5 next year. Like
easy.
at that production, yeah, you trade him. He's going to bring in a decent return because it's another year of control, or you keep him as you mentioned, and it's a nice piece for you next year. That was a really savvy signing.
Absolutely, it was. So, yeah, I'm intrigued. Trevor Rogers, he looks fantastic, and we can't forget that this guy was a rocket ship with the Marlins early and then dealt with injuries, wasn't the same guy, but we're starting to see that same Trevor Rogers of old. There's good stuff to watch here on this Orioles team, but for us to start to get excited, they have to put it together more consistently, and I think Orioles fans, even the biggest ones, would think that's fair.
Yeah, 100%. And I think if the Braves do probably need to shake some things up roster wise, I think it's just clear that this group is maybe not going to do it together. And if they decide to become sellers, it does really shake up the market and make it really interesting. So we'll see. I mean, obviously they're going to need to have another couple bad weeks. I think that's very possible here that it's going to continue to be bad. But looking at the schedule ahead, I'm like, like how ugly can this get? What will it require for them to really shake things up here? They play in Oakland or in Sacramento, I should say, and they play at St. Louis. So they've got a bit of a road trip coming up too, going into the All Star break. It could slip away if they continue to struggle offensively. So I'm fascinated to see how things go. And then after the All Star break, they got to play the Yankees, they got to play the Giants, they got to travel to Texas, and then it's another road trip going right into the All Star break or right into the deadline. So it could continue to get ugly for them. So I'm very interested to see how they maneuver if it doesn't get any better over the next couple weeks.
We will see. Before I get to the rest of my series, our first break. All right, let's start with the series from hell. No, that's too much. The Subway Series, Yankees versus Mets. Game one, Mets win 6-5. Electric start to the Subway Series as Jason Dominguez and Aaron Judge went back to back to start the game for the Yankees. But Juan Soto answered right back in the bottom half with a two-run shot. Yankees kept the foot on the gas as Cody Bellinger and Dominguez homered to increase the Yankees' lead to 5-3. And then the Mets took full control. Beatty homered in the sixth to pull within one, and then Jeff frickin' McNeil clutch two-run home run in the seventh, and that was all they needed to secure the game one win. Then we moved to game two. Mets win 12-6. Mets came out hot. Brandon Nimmo rocked a grand slam in the bottom of the first. Jazz and Wells homered, but Pete Alonso's two-run shot in the fifth gave the Mets 7 runs on the day, and that was all they needed. Now Volpe homered, but then Alonso homered again, and that was that. Carlos Rodon, his worst outing of the season, 5 innings, 6 earned runs. Frankie Montas allowed 4 earned runs over 5 2/3 against his former team. Now going into game 3, if we lost this game, and I say we, I am a Yankee fan if you didn't know, I assume you do by now. I was going to come on with just a rant. That was going to piss you off because you're going to be like, he's spoiled. What are you talking about? But the defense from the Yankees, just such a sloppy series. I was so infuriated, but thankfully they won game 3. They win 6-4. Austin Wells opened the scoring with a solo shot, and then he added another RBI in the fourth as part of a 2-run inning. Aaron Judge came up in the fifth and hit his 33rd home run of the year, which ended up being the dagger. Mets battled all the way back to 5-4 as Jonathan Loáisiga started to fall apart a bit, but then Judge gave the Yankees some breathing room with a sac fly. Yankees salvaged the series, but the Mets win, continuing their not dominance over the Yankees in the Subway Series, but it does feel like every single time we play the Mets, we lose the series. Now, I don't know the numbers quite. Maybe it's closer than what my mind thinks to myself, but I mean, the Mets are just better than us, plain and simple. That's my
Yeah, I think
takeaway.
the season series it's 3-3, but last year was it they have your number a little bit more?
Maybe. I never
Just
feel
you
good
just
about
feel
it.
it more. Every loss
Yeah.
feels like two, every win feels like one.
It's just,
Isn't that just a Yankees fan in a nutshell?
yeah, I mean, we're all idiots, and everyone wants to fire Boone and Cashman and change up the lineup every 5 minutes. But you know what? I share it. It's the defense and the
That
sloppiness.
Bellinger play though
That's what I
was
was saying. Game
nasty.
three was just okay. All right. I'm not gonna have a heart attack here because much better defensive play, clutch hitting, much better game in game three. But the reality is that the Yankees are just,
Well, both these teams aren't playing very well right
I
now.
know. That's the point. The Mets are not playing well, and they made pretty quick work of the Yankees and were close to winning game three again. But Cody Bellinger did make an incredible play, a shoestring catch, and then to rifle it to first.
Yeah.
Lindor, why are you not sliding? But
Yeah,
it is what it is. Also, terrible umpiring in the series on both sides. Mets
yeah, really
fans, I know you
bad.
saw it too. It was so bad. Mets win a series. My takeaway is that the Yankees just aren't that good. And I'm so upset about Clark Schmidt. He was pitching
Yeah,
so
that
well,
sucks.
going down with Tommy John surgery. Also, someone alerted me in the Discord. I feel like such an idiot. I said multiple times on the show about Jake Cousins pitching this year. I don't know why I ever said that. I know we didn't pitch this year. I was just saying that the loss from Tommy John surgery is tough on the Yankees bullpen, but regardless, that's a brain fart that I wanted to clear up with any Yankee fans listening. Thank you. I forget who said that in the Discord, but again, that's why we love our Discord. They keep us honest. But what were your takeaways from the series so I don't just keep yelling?
I mean, with that Schmidt injury, I'm just very interested to see how the pitching staff shapes up a little bit now because like I really like Cam Schlitter's stuff, who they are gonna presumably call up, I think, to make a start in the next couple days. And they're bringing him up. He was lights out to start his AAA career, but then last time out, 2 1/3, 6 earned. So I don't think they really care. You've got good stuff. You're our best shot right now. We're going to bring you up. I think he could shove because his fastball is, I think, 70 grade.
Wow.
So I am really excited to see him get out there and throw. But when the Yankees are going into the farm, you know that there's always a little bit of like, okay, we are a bit thin all of a sudden. But other than that, I thought the Yankees offense was all right overall. I thought it was a really good bounce back in the final game. It's the pitching all of a sudden where I don't know how much I trust the bullpen and everything. And then the Mets seeing that offense get going again, seeing a lot of different guys come up with big hits. I think that has to make them feel pretty good about maybe getting things right. And I felt like that Jacob Mizorowski start where they just ambushed him and finished out that series well, carried that momentum into this one. I think the Mets are starting to get right a little bit.
Yeah, the Mets are totally fine. I mean, this team is good. They're going to add a starter at the deadline. They're going to add a left-handed reliever, and they're going to continue to be one of the best teams in
The
baseball.
33 and 14 at home too. So like that's one thing too. It's really hard to go to Citi Field and win big ball games right now. And the Yankees are not already a team that definitely plays much better at home as well. So that's going to play a part in it. But I don't know if there's a team that's better at home than the Mets right now at Citi Field. 33
Yeah,
and 14 is pretty insane.
you go into City Field and it's a graveyard. I mean, the Mets just beat you down. But another thing I'm worried about, I mean, so many things I'm worried about, but I'll answer them one by one. The Yankees bullpen just isn't that good. I mean,
It's
like
definitely a
Devin
problem.
Devin Williams is good. Like you might look at the box score and be like, "Oh, he's doing better." It's still just we're walking a tightrope. I feel like every single time he steps on the mound. Luke Weaver is starting to fall apart, which I hate. I love Luke Weaver to death, but his last couple outings have not been good. Fernando Cruz hits the IL, and I'm just like, I can't watch more Mark Leiter. I mean, good guy, I assume. I'm rooting for him. It's just not fun to watch him pitch. It's just
Yeah.
point blank, period. Like it's
Yeah,
not fun.
they're gonna
So
need to make some moves.
need to make some moves and this defense. And you know what? It makes me really sad, Arm. I've been a Volpe believer and I will continue to be a Volpe reliever, but it's really hard to answer all these group chats with people being like, all my Yankee fan friends who are like, Peter, you still believe in Volpe? While I'm watching him just puke all over himself.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the pressure that is consistently put on him and the I think
Yeah.
the
Like,
vitriol that he's dealt with from fans over a few years now, I think doesn't help. It's like Yankees fans like get upset about certain players not turning it around, but make it more difficult for them to turn it around.
I agree. We're not the best fan base in the world. I know
Like
it.
I think he's handled everything with grace, but like you
Yes.
know he's gonna have to wear it. I think this is another one of those situations where it's like, why isn't he getting right? But you're making it worse by the way that you guys go about it. Not you, but like the way that
No, it's me. It's not me, but it's kind of me. It's in my head. I just don't let it come out of
you
my
don't.
mouth.
But
And
like I see crazy stuff all the time. And again, maybe I get it. He's a grown man. He's a major league baseball player. It is what it is. But it definitely doesn't help that like he has been put under a microscope that I can't remember very many other young players really have to deal with. I know it comes with being a Yankee, blah blah blah. I get it, but they
still
definitely
sucks.
haven't made his life any easier.
Yeah,
I
like
will
you're
just say
saying,
that.
like it comes with being a Yankee. That sucks.
Yeah.
It
Why
and
does it come with being a Yankee? Because you guys created it. Like
and I still believe in him. Right?
I do
He's
too. I
24
do
years
too.
old, and I've compared him to Dansby Swanson 100,000 times, and I want people to go. And Braves fans are going to remember this. Go look at Dansby Swanson's earlier career. He was not very good.
The team that drafted him traded him. How often does a number one pick like that get
Exactly.
moved?
He was
So
like downright bad. And as he continued to develop, he got better and better. I still think he's great with the glove, even though the glove hasn't been that great lately. But I still
I know
think
he's gonna
overall
be a
he's
good
got a
player.
good glove.
He's
I
gonna be a good
think he's
player.
going to be a good hitter. Sometimes his approach just infuriates me. And, staring down the barrel of a horrible stat arm, he leads Major League Baseball in leaving runners on base.
Yeah, that's
That's like
tough.
the worst stat ever. That's
That's
the
tough.
worst stat ever.
And then
Because we need you to drive
him
runners
hitting
in.
Judge, him hitting Judge in the head just was not
That
gonna.
was just.
That
What
wasn't
am I
gonna
supposed
help.
to do? Ah,
It wasn't gonna help.
we gotta move on from the
Yes,
series. I could do it for
please.
an hour. Yeah, all right, let's
No,
move
no
on.
thanks. I'm good.
Okay. All right, let's go to Reds versus Phillies. Game one. Reds win 9-6. Phillies grabbed an early 3-0 lead, highlighted by a Nick Castellanos home run. When the Reds would battle back as Austin Hayes tied up the game in the third with a double, and then Spencer Steer gave Cincy the lead with a two-run double, and then Noelvi Marte, welcome back, gave the Reds a cushion with a sac fly. Reds kept piling on in a team effort, scoring one more in the fourth and two more in the fifth. Luzardo, tough outing and tough stretch, really. 2 innings, 6 earned. His ERA is up to 4.44. Also, really tough for Andrew Abbott as well. Weird
Yeah.
bad start for him. Also, all-star snub Andrew Abbott. 3 1/3, 9 hits, 4 earned. His ERA is still 2.15. Game
How's
two.
he not an all-star?
I don't know. Phillies win 5-1. No runs until the fifth, and then the homers arrived. Benson homer to give the Reds a 1-0 lead, but that was it for Cincy as Amundo Sosa answered right back with one, then Bohm in the sixth, and then Schwarber in the eighth. Nick Lodolo, solid quality start with 8 Ks, and Ranger Suarez continues to shove. 5 innings, only 1 earned allowed, and 6 punchies. Move to game three. Phillies win 3-1. This was the Zach Wheeler show, tossing a complete game, one hitter, 12 punchies. And that one hit, though, was an Austin Hayes home run. He faced 28 batters, just one over the minimum. Outside of Wheeler, the highlight of the game was a Bryson Stott two-run shot to break the 1-1 tie in the eighth. And Chase Burns on the Red side was much better this time around. He wasn't tipping pitches, or at least that's what we think, striking out 7 over 4 2/3 while allowing just one run. I posted this on Twitter, Arm. Rank these three pitchers. We do it all the time: Skubal, Skeens, and Wheeler. And I was like, to be honest, I could hear any order. Like, I don't think Skeens is the best,
Yeah.
so that would be the only one I couldn't hear. But if you told me Wheeler's better than Skubal, sure. He's been doing it since 2021. He's the best in the big moments. The amount of trust I have in him is unbelievable. And then Skubal. All right, we're going to talk about it in a little bit. Just 7 shutty, unbelievable again. Every single time he throws a start, every single time he throws, we got a new tweet coming up how he's setting a new record. I mean, this time around, last two starts, 23 punchouts, no earned runs. Only Tiger to ever do that is Jack Morris. We can just keep going through all these crazy
I
stats.
think he's the best right now, and Wheeler's ridiculous again. But in terms of hitter reactions and just the way that I feel like guys are going up there feeling like they have almost no chance. That's right. I really feel that when I'm watching hitters against Tarek Skubal. And I know the Reds felt like they probably didn't have much of a chance in this one where it was 9 innings of 1 run ball and they struck out 12 times. But there's something about these Skubal at bats where it just, the hitter reactions are as uncomfortable as I've seen in a long time.
Yeah.
My only other big takeaway is Ellie De La Cruz, the right-handed hitter, is really coming along. And
Yes.
that's huge, right? Because that was weighing him down. First 37 games from the right side, he had a 563 OPS. And his 30 games since that from the right side, 298, 327, 532 slash lines to 858 OPS. If he's hitting well from the left side, he's going to be in a really good spot
Right
because
side.
he's a 924 OPS from the right side, excuse me, because he's a 924 OPS from the left side, hitting 300 this year. So seeing that right side continue to come along, I mean, that can really, really enhance that bottom line for the 23-year-old.
And I also feel like the Phillies, I don't know if this is a takeaway based on this series, but I just continue to feel like they're just kind of going underrated, right? Because the Dodgers, everybody knows how good they are. The Cubs are probably the best watch in Major League Baseball on a day by day basis, right? The Mets have been so good. They're so good at home. They're talked about a ton. You know, the Braves' fall is talked about constantly. The Brewers have been good. The Padres, the Giants. I continue to say I think the Phillies are the most underrated team in baseball. I think this team can win the World Series. They are just so loaded, and they're a few bullpen arms away from being able to beat anybody on any given day.
Yeah,
I
and the
mean,
Reds have been playing pretty good ball. It's
really
not
good
like they're,
ball, and the
yeah,
and the Phillies just kind of took care of them, right? I
especially
know
after
it was at
dropping game
home.
one, they just snapped in and
Yeah,
took
they
care of
just
business in the next two.
exactly. I mean, you look at the rotation like Ranger and Christopher Sanchez. You could say both are all-star snubs. I'm sure you're going to talk about them tomorrow. Then you have Wheeler, and you have this offense now with Harper back, Schwarber hitting bombs, Castellanos having a better offensive season. Like this team is just really, really good again, and I'm really excited to see how Dombrowski operates this
Oh
deadline.
yeah, I think we might see the most aggressive version of him. At least I'm hoping so. So
Think
I'm
about
I'm,
it.
I'm feeling
Wheeler's
the
only
same
got
way.
2 more years. Harper's only getting older. Dombrowski's only getting
Yeah,
older. He's going to do anything. If you're a prospect in the Philly system, just keep your bags packed.
you're up.
You might be
Yeah,
out.
and it's as strong of a farm as it's been as they've had really since Dombrowski's taken over.
Do you think Dombrowski, like, is Andrew Painter truly untouchable? I think in the right trade, he would do
I don't
anything
think
right
that
now.
there's a player I can think of that would be available off the top of my head that would
True.
allow you to move Andrew Painter. But sometimes players who are unavailable become available when a
Yeah.
prospect like Andrew Painter is attainable. So I wouldn't rule anything out with him. I think it's unlikely, but I wouldn't rule anything out.
All right, let's move over to Angels versus Blue Jays. God damn, the Blue Jays are fun to watch right now. Game one, Blue Jays win 4-3 in 10 innings. Scoring didn't start until the bottom of the sixth as Andres Jimenez, Bo Bichette, and Addison Barger all drove in runs for Toronto to take the lead. But Joe Adell got it all back with a 431-foot moonshot in seventh, tying the game at 3. And then we go to extras. And Ernie Clement lays down a bunt with runners on first and second, and Sam Bachman, the pitcher, airmailed it to first, and they walked it off. Eric Lauer just keeps on shoving. 6 innings, 3 hits, 2 earned, 6 Ks. His ERA is down to 2.65. What a pickup. And Hendricks, Kyle Hendricks was great. He just had one bad inning, 5 1/3, 3 earned. Move to game two. Blue Jays went 4-3, but this time they did it in 11 innings. Angels and Jays traded runs in the first before Joe Adell again gave the Angels the lead with a sac fly in the third, but George Springer got that lead back and then some, hitting his 16th home run of the year to give Toronto a 3-2 lead. Talk about an all-star snub, maybe the biggest in all of baseball. George Springer, why was he not on the all-star team?
Crazy.
Nolan Shanwell tied it up with an RBI single in the seventh, and we head to extras again. And then Addison Barger came up in the 11th, sent the Blue Jays home happy with an RBI single. Move to game three. Blue Jays sweep, win 3-2. Mike Trout homered to start the game, but the Jays got it back in the fourth, and then some, highlighted by a Bo Bichette long ball. Taylor Ward tied it up in the fifth with an RBI single, but Davis Schneider gave the Jays the lead back on an RBI single of his own, and then the Jays bullpen came in and shut the door. Good start by Gosman, 5 2/3, 2 earned, 9 Ks. Aram, it is Sunday, July 6th, and the Blue Jays are comfortably in first place in the American League East. Could you believe it?
No. But I'm starting to, I am starting to buy in now. It's hard to argue against. I really enjoyed watching Max Scherzer throw the ball well. And it's been fun to watch him just look healthy. And just that adds a layer to what they've got going on here. So just seeing him back healthy was nice. But yeah, Eric Lauer just continues to do his thing, which is really cool. And dude, when you've got Barger emerging, and then they're able to platoon their way now with Davis Schneider getting going to be that short side of the platoon. And then you've got different pieces there. Ernie Clement is destroying lefties and playing good defense. You mentioned Springer doing what he's doing. They're in a fun spot, and then the depth is amazing too. Like Andres Jimenez goes down, they can bring up a Joey Loperfido who was swinging it really well in AAA of late, and he picked up a big RBI single in that one. So I like that they've got all these different players that they can plug in, mix and match, and then you've still got your key guys that are doing what they were supposed to do when you brought them in, or when you have just had them grow into who they are. Right? You want Bo Bichette to be a middle of the order masher for you. You want Vladdy Guerrero to be that superstar for you, and they've been really solid. And then George Springer, who you paid a lot of money to be a key piece for you, is finally doing that when I don't think anybody expected it anymore. And then the guy you extended, Alejandro Kirk, continues to ball. So it's been fun to watch. It's another team here that, like, with the way that they're playing right now, this is going to be an aggressive Blue Jays team too, and those players all deserve, I think, to get some reinforcements added in there. So they're fun to watch. Like, they really are, and I'm enjoying what they're doing.
We talked about the Mets 33 and 14 home record, the best in baseball. The Blue Jays, you go to Toronto, that's another graveyard out there. The Blue Jays are 32 and 16 at home, winners of 8 straight, 9 of their last 10 games. Everything is clicking for this team. And I don't think it's crazy to say that this team can continue to build on this and win this division. I mean, the Yankees are vulnerable. The Rays are vulnerable. The Red Sox are just kind of mediocre. The Blue Jays can win this division, and you could just tell by watching them. There's just the belief in the team. 1 through 9, anyone can get a hit on any given day. The starting pitchers, you got your 3 studs at the top, and then Eric Lauer comes in, and that bullpen, Jeff Hoffman. They have so many other guys in the bullpen that have just stepped up and done incredible jobs. I said it like a month and a half ago, and I was like, let's not sleep on the Blue Jays here, people. And they have done even better than I would have thought, being an optimistic person about Toronto.
Yeah. As a pessimist, it's been really cool to see them do their thing. And I mean, Gosman turning in a good one as well against, I think, a lineup that several players had some success against him coming into this one. Yeah, excited to see them keep rolling. And the Angels, though, I think we're going to start to see them fade a little bit, but we'll see.
Buyers, though.
But, no matter what.
No matter what. All right, let's move to Tigers versus Guardians. Tigers sweep. Game 1, Tigers win 2-1. Jose Ramirez gave the Guardians the lead with his 14th home run of the year, but that was the only run the Guardians could muster. It's not a great sentence for Guardians fans. A Wencel Perez homer in the third tied it, and then McKinstry gave the Tigers the lead with a home run of his own, and this game was over. They wasted a very solid Slade Ciccone start. 6 innings, 2 earned, 5 punchies. His ERA is at 3.56. And Reese Olson was solid in his return from the IL. Big time for the Tigers, only allowing 1 run through 4 1/3. Game 2, Tigers win 1-0. This was the Casey Mize show. 7 shutty, only allowing 4 hits, punching out 4. His ERA is down to 2.63. What a season for Casey Mize. Spencer Torkelson's 20th home run of the season was the lone run of the game, and the Guardians wasted another good starting pitching performance, this time from Logan Allen. 6 innings, only 1 earned on 2 hits, 5 Ks. His ERA is down to 4.07. Move to game 3. Tigers sweep, win 7-2 in 10 innings. This game didn't have a run scored until the bottom of the 8th inning, as Skubal and Gavin Williams had a good old-fashioned pitcher's duel. Skubal was just insane. 7 innings, 3 hits, no runs, 10 Ks. His ERA is down to 2.02. Gavin Williams, though, was incredible. 6 innings, only 1 hit allowed, no runs, 8 Ks. His ERA is down to 3.61. Guardians had a 1-0 lead before a pass ball allowed the Tigers to tie it. Bo Naylor, don't let that ball go in between your legs. And then they went crazy, highlighted by home runs from Trey Sweeney and Riley Green. The Guardians have lost 10 in a row.
It's crazy. The theme is wasted starts. You wasted another one with Gavin Williams here too. I understand that you had Skubal opposite this time around, but you still had an opportunity to shut the door, didn't, and then your next best reliever just got throttled, like absolutely throttled for 4 earned in Cade Smith. So this team can't hit. It's just that simple. I mean, it's really, really tough to watch. This series, if you told me going into it, and I know they're playing the Tigers, who are one of the best teams in baseball, but if you told me you were going to get the pitching performances, the starting pitching performances they got from the three arms that got the ball, I'd say they're at least taking, well, definitely at least taking one. You think they got a great chance of taking 2 out of 3, and you wouldn't rule out a sweep, and they got swept. So it's really ugly right now. I don't want to fully call it for them just yet, but it's getting darn close for a team that already needs extra incentive to buy. It seems like we could be trending towards another seller here where they've got pieces, but I look at that offense and it's going to be hard to see that getting a spark anytime soon here. It's just tough. The lineup really drops off.
I think we are looking at a seller here. I mean, they're
Yeah.
40 and 48. Again, they've lost 10 in a row, negative 59 run differential. And if you look at their expected win loss based off that run differential, it's even worse at 37 and 51, right? They're not winning at home. They're not winning on the road. They're 18 and 37 against teams over 500. They can't hit. I
If
mean,
only they had a guy in AAA who can hit for power and get on base.
but even would Chase DeLauder do that much to the lineup?
No, but I would try.
I would try as well, but as soon as you get done with Quan Manzardo, excuse me, I'm just
Well,
coughing on
I,
a storm.
I don't even know. Like Delauder doesn't even play. Obviously, plays the outfield, but like you have Will Wilson starting games for you at second base. I, Brian Rocchio is one of the worst hitters in the sport.
Yeah,
That middle infield tandem is crazy. I don't know.
and again, I want to praise the Tigers, right? I don't want Tigers fans to be like, "What about us?" I mean, you rolled over a team that can't hit.
Yeah, no, I mean
I mean,
they
you
did what they're
played
supposed to
well,
do.
right? You
They did.
did all that you could, but at the end of the day, like every single starter performed really well against you. And the Tigers have not been playing the best baseball. They're still
I think
obviously
I think it says a lot though that they still won those games.
that's what I was going to say. Like they weren't playing that great of baseball. They weren't really hitting much this series and still got a sweep. Like if I'm a Tigers fan, it's like even when we're not playing that well, we can still sweep a team. I know, the Guardians, didn't exactly do much, but at the same time, that's big
Did.
for a team like this, especially again winning on the road like they did.
Yep, I agree.
All right, let's move on to the next series, Rays versus Twins. Game 1, excuse me. Twins win 4-3. Harrison Bader started the scoring in the 5th with his 8th home run of the year, but that lead lasted half an inning. Yandy and Junior Caminero drove home a run each on RBI hits, and then Josh Lowe did the same in the 7th. Twins mount a comeback as Byron Buxton drove in a run on a double, and then Brooks Lee got a hit by pitch with the bases loaded, tying it up. Bader steps up in the bottom of the 9th and walks it off, his second home run of the game. The Rays really wasted a great Zach Littell start. 6 innings, a 1-run ball with 5 Ks. His ERA is down to 3.50. Move to game 2. Twins win again, 6-5. Teams trade runs early before Josh Lowe gave Tampa the lead on an RBI double, and then Yandy and Jr. sack flied 2 more in the 5th. Rays put up another in the 6th, and it felt like the game was over with a 5-1 lead, but not so fast. Royce Lewis drives home the Twins' second run, and then Cody Clemens came up clutch. 3-run jack to tie it. Then in the 9th, Brooks Lee laid down a bunt down and hit Diaz's glove. Run scores their second straight walk-off win. Move to game 3. Rays finally win 7-5 in 10 innings. Buxton opened the scoring with his 20th home run of the year, but Taylor Walls grabbed the lead back in the 3rd with a home run, and then Jonathan Aranda gave the Rays the lead with an RBI single in the 4th. Back and forth the rest of the way, highlighted by a Harrison Bader clutch 2-run home run to tie it at 4. Then we head to extras, where Yandy, Caballero, and Jr. all drove in runs to give the Rays the win. Rasmussen had a short outing because he's on a 150 innings pitch limit. So we got to see Joe Boyle dominate for 5 innings without allowing an earned run,
It's
striking
crazy.
out 7. What do you think?
That's just my thoughts. Like this has been happening in AAA too. Like he's got it. Joe Boyle's figured it out, and I mean he did that 95 pitches, 5 innings of no run, 1 walk, 7K ball. Having him as well, they can do this now. I think this might be the plan. You can keep Rasmussen fresh now potentially to be available for the playoffs because Joe Boyle can piggyback 5+ innings now every fifth day too. They're in a really advantageous spot on the pitching side. Talked about it. They have some other arms in AAA that can help them when needed as well. And Ian Seymour, lefty, who can just be a good back end innings eater too. they're in a great spot. You know, the bullpen's always going to be good. I think it's really impressive that they're able to get that from Joe Boyle. That said, though, that helped them salvage the series. The Twins, I think, huge for them to take 2 out of 3 here because they're another team that was trending like some of the others that we were talking about, where it's like, oh, they could be dead in the water soon. Rays have been playing great ball. Big for the Twins to take those 2 out of 3 there and keep themselves in the fight a little bit.
How about Harrison Bader?
He's been amazing.
He's been so good and he's been so clutch at the same time. Like it does feel like whenever the Twins have a comeback, like he's right there. Another good pickup. 10 bombs, 7 steals, 757 OPS, while displaying incredible range like he normally does in center field. He's
Oh
in the
yeah.
95th percentile in outs
What was
above
it? Three
average.
homers in this series by him?
At least 2. Might have been 3.
I think it was
Forgot,
three.
even though I just read it.
Yeah, I think it was three.
He's been really, really good for the
Yeah,
Twins. But that's kind of the only takeaway I have with the Twins. The Twins are just, I still believe in them. Why not?
of
Why
course.
not? They are in second place, Arm. Did you know that? They are in second place.
That's like a by default situation
They're
there.
13 and a
Someone has
half
to be in
back.
second.
13 and a half back in second, though. No, it's just, I look at the Twins lineup, like especially in this series, I'm like, this is one of the best lineups in baseball. I really do think that.
No,
You go from 1 to 9.
no, you don't.
Like I kind of do.
No, you don't.
Go through it. Go through their
All right.
lineup.
Which day? Do you have a preferred day?
Yes, Saturday's lineup.
Game 3. Saturday's lineup. You want
I want
Saturday's
Saturday's
lineup?
lineup. Just everybody listen. Just tell me this isn't one of the best lineups in baseball.
Uh, I'm about to. Byron Buxton leading off. Willie
Dog.
Castro in the 2 hole. Trevor
Dog.
Larnach DH and hitting third, who was
Rakes.
pinch hit for by Brooks Lee later in the ball game.
Another
Carlos
dog in Brooks
Correa.
Lee.
Carlos Correa in the cleanup spot.
Dog.
Ryan Jeffers.
Great catcher.
Matt Wallner.
Hits
Royce Lewis.
nukes.
Cody Clemens. And Harrison Bader. I'm okay.
That's a good lineup
It's a solid lineup. It's all right.
throughout.
There's some days where that lineup's going to stink. Also, did you know that Roger Clemens named all of his kids with all of his kids' names start with the letter K because of like strikeouts? I think that's like respectfully, I think that you can do whatever you want. It's your family, your kids. I think that's so corny. I'm sorry. Like
Kind of funny.
they're all K. Like, dude, like you I understand baseball is your life, but wow, like that's crazy. That is crazy to me.
Yeah,
But anyway, I don't know. I don't think that lineup's that good. It's all right.
I do. I think there's not as many lineups that are as deep as that, right? Because I'm saying with Bader at the night, like there's nobody bad in that lineup at all. And there's a lot of lineups where they're very top heavy and then it drops off really quick. The Twins lineup, again, we're going to take up everybody's time debating about the Twins lineup number
No, we
43
can
and
move on to the
48.
next
All I
one.
want to say is I believe in them.
Uh,
Twins Nation, I still believe. Good series win. We're in
I
second
agree.
place. All right, should
There you
we
go.
talk? All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 series left. And before we get to those 5 series, our last break. All right, let's talk about the series everybody has been waiting for. White Sox, Rockies, prime time in Denver, Colorado. Game 1. White Sox win 3-2. We're joking, or at least I'm joking. Adrian Hauser has been freaking awesome. Continued his
Yeah, he's
dominance.
gonna get them a nice little return.
Definitely 8 innings, allowing 2 runs, but none of them were earned, striking out 6, lowering his ERA to 1.60. And you'd expect with Adrian Hauser, what has he thrown 11 innings? 50. 50 and 2/3. He's putting together a great season. A shout out to Edgar Caro. Home run in the 6th broke the 2-2 tie, the first of his career. I was surprised by that. I know Edgar Caro's not like
Hmm.
much of a power guy, he's more bat to ball, but it took him this long to hit his first home run.
Yeah, it's kind of
Got it
crazy.
in course. Game 2, White Sox win 10-3. The only Rockies runs came on a 2-run single from Jordan Beck and a home run from Brenton Doyle. But then from there, all Sox. Leaning Sosa homered, one of his 3 hits on the day. Michael A. Taylor homered. Colson Montgomery, welcome to the show. And Mike Tauchman had 3 hits. And Jonathan Cannon allowed 2 runs in 5 2/3. Moved over to game 3. Rockies win 6-4, salvages the series. Mickey Moniak homered to start the game, but the lead was short-lived as the White Sox came roaring back in the 3rd and 4th and 5th to take a 4-2 lead. Mickey Moniak came up clutch, though, in the 5th, driving home 2 and an RBI triple. And then Michael Tolia rocked a home run to give the Rockies the lead. And this game was over. How many innings did you watch of the series?
This is not one.
Yep.
I didn't watch one. I watched swings. I went back and watched some Colson Montgomery swings. I did not watch any innings. Um, I love that the White Sox did the soft launch for Colson, who was really struggling with swing and miss over the last couple years. Has gotten right though over the last few weeks. Their former first rounder to get his big league debut at Coors, great way to start with some momentum. And man, he took advantage of the altitude. He absolutely raked in this series. So great start to his big league career.
Great
That's just my,
defensive, great defensive play as well. That
which is
over the
kind of shocking.
shoulder diving play at short.
Yeah. I mean, it's got to feel fun, whether you believe in him fully, it all working out. I'm a little bit more skeptical on him. Regardless, I do think it's just fun for White Sox fans to be able to see, guys who could be pieces of the future and have some upside. Also, Mike Tauchman, I imagine is going to be another trade chip for them. He's been awesome. That guy's up to what? He's in 288 now.
It's a good
He has
play.
just been mashing all year long. But yeah, I mean, there's not much to take away from this series. It's funny though. All of a sudden, the Rockies are playing a little bit better overall, and like we've been talking about the fun, loving White Sox, and they're getting there and whatever. They're 30 and 60. The Rockies are 21 and 69. It's all of a sudden not that far apart, but there are a lot more tangible pieces with the White Sox.
White Sox fans didn't need to hear that.
I'm sorry.
But it's kind of fair, though. All right, let's move over to Pirates versus Mariners. This one was all low scoring, as I'm sure you can imagine. T-Mobile between the Mariners and the Pirates. Mariners went 6-0 in game one. Cal Raleigh homered for the 967th time to open the scoring, and then Randy followed suit. Then frickin' Cal Raleigh hit his 2000th home run of the year. Real talk, he's at 35. Just unbelievable in the sixth inning. Dylan Moore got in on the fun, hitting his ninth home run of the year, and the game was over because Brian Wu shoved again. 6 innings, 3 hits, no earned, 8 Ks, all-star snub. We moved to game two. Mariners won 1-0. Luis Castillo was on one on Saturday, tossing 7 innings of shutout baseball while only allowing 2 hits and striking out 8, lowering his ERA to 3.31. Mike Burrows also threw a 5 inning shutout. He's an intriguing arm that I really like, but Ferguson came in after and allowed the lone run of the game on a Ben Williamson RBI double. Move to game three. Mariners sweep, win 1-0 again. Randy Rosarena provided the only offense, hitting his 14th of the year, as this was a duel between George Kirby and Paul Skeens. Skeens struck out 10 over 5 shutty. Kirby struck out 9 over 6 and a third. And then I wrote down insert Skeens pitching well, Pirates lose stat. I decided not to do that because we do that every weekend roundup, and I'm sure Pirates fans are sick of hearing that, oh, they made history. Paul Skeens shoved, and we didn't win. Great. They all know it. We don't need any more stats. And people are wondering, why did Paul Skeens only go 5 innings if he didn't allow a run? 5 hits. Only was at 78 pitches. It's clear the Pirates are managing his innings because season's
Why? Yeah,
kind of
why
over.
run him into the ground when
Yeah, why do
your
it?
team's already there? Um, it, I feel like putting the Pirates in T-Mobile Park, like putting the Pirates offense in T-Mobile Park is like taking somebody who already can't swim and attaching weights to their feet and throwing them in the deep end. Like they were going to drown anyways, but you made it a little bit
Way
more.
quicker and harder
Way,
and
yeah,
worse.
like that's the best analogy I can think of.
It's a great
I mean, just
analogy.
insane. Like 0, 0, and 0 for 3 straight games. I want to give credit to the staff of the Mariners though, because I mean you got Wu, you got Kirby who's throwing the ball really well now that he's kind of
Really
got
well.
his legs back under him again. So like and Castillo, like he's still Luis freaking Castillo. He's got a 3.31 ERA and but he was utterly dominant. So I do want to give them credit there. Matt Brash, since coming back, has been disgusting. And then Munoz is one of the best relievers in the sport. So
Yeah. And
I
Gabe
mean, this
Spire.
is Mariners ball though. Like this is how they're going to win a lot of games. But shit, can they not? Like, can they score some more runs too? Back to back 1-0 wins is like but you'll take it. It's a sweep. You do what you do well, and hopefully they add to this offense. But got to give credit to this pitching staff that is just ridiculous.
And I also want to shout out Gabe Spire. He's from my hometown. We went to the same high school. He was a legend in my town, so I'm always rooting for him. And you mentioned some of those Mariners relievers like Brash and Munoz, and they've been so good. I mean, Gabe Spire is one of the only lefties in this pen, and he's just shoving. 34 innings, 51 punchouts, 2.65 ERA. Tough year last year with some injuries, but was really good in 2023. Been a really solid reliever. Shout out Gabe Spire.
You
Galita's
make it sound
best.
like you grew up in like Wyoming, like in the middle of nowhere, Wyoming.
I
when
can't
when a
root for my
lefty
guys.
specialist is like the legend of your
He
hometown.
was a legend. He was a legend. Like in high school, you knew the name Gabe Spire. Like that dude. You say goodnight when you'd go up against him. It's just cool. It's cool. I played with his brother.
Nah,
Like
yeah.
it's really, really cool. But you're right. I do
Low hanging
pretend I'm
fruit.
from
It was easy.
some podunk town from nowhere where I'm like, this guy saved us. No, maybe I'm over exaggerating, but he is a
It
legend.
reminds
And
me of
I,
watching what was his name? The quarterback for the Eagles that Carson Wentz went back to like North Dakota. It's like he's like he like can walk on water there. Um, but yeah, no, I
but also North Dakota and Southern California is a little different. Like I
no,
understand. I understand.
but yeah, I mean, also one positive on the Pirates. Shout out Nick Gonzalez. Continue to put together good ABs.
Yeah.
He's swinging about well. Spencer Horwitz is starting to heat up a little bit too. Those are two guys that you want to build on. Also, O'Neill Cruz with one of the best throws you'll ever see. 105 miles an
105.
hour to nab a guy at home. That was
JP
cool.
Crawford. Why are we not
JP
sliding?
Crawford.
Why are
But
we not
that's
sliding?
about it. And then IKF to just keep popping off King. I don't think he did anything this series, but you are the solution to all teams' problems. Just wait.
Peyton, I'm asking you right now on YouTube. Hopefully, everyone can see the meme that someone made in our Discord where it's like
Yes.
who
The
is that
leak.
guy?
Was
You
that
know what I'm saying?
was it not the ShamWow guy?
I don't know if it was the ShamWow guy, but it's that meme of him just putting a piece of duct tape and it's like all these teams' problems. IKF.
IKF. Yep.
IKF. You need an
I love it.
infielder? IKF. I feel like IKF is the band aid for every team, every deadline, but
He's
we'll
going to
see.
net 4 top 100 prospects.
Easily. All right, let's move on to Cubs versus Cardinals. And before I break into the next three series, I want to apologize. There was a really weird Sunday schedule. You got like a 9 p.m. game, a 10 p.m. game, and then the Cubs Cardinals was first pitch was at around 6:10 p.m. Eastern. We are on Eastern time. We didn't want to record deep into the night, so we were recording in the third inning between Cubs versus Cardinals, and there's not really much to recap from that game. I'll get into it in a second because the Cubs are just it's a beatdown right now. Game one, Cubs win 11-3. Seiya Suzuki opened the scoring with his 24th home run of the year, all-star snub, and then PCA sent one deep as well. But he's an all-star. 22nd home run of the year. The theme here: home runs. So many home runs. Bush homered. Carson Kelly homered, then PCA homered again, then Michael Bush again, then Brandon Donovan snuck one in for his team, but then the Cubs went right back to it. Dansby homered, then Bush for a third time, a franchise record for home runs in a single game for Chicago. Another cool stat from Jesse Rogers from ESPN. Michael Bush is the third Cubs player with a three-homer game against the Cardinals. All three did it on Independence Day. Moises Alou in
What the
2003
hell?
and Hank Leiber in 1939. I quote tweeted and I just said America. That felt like the most American stat. Cubs
That is
Cardinals, incredible American rivalry on Independence Day. I thought it was awesome. Isn't that a weird stat?
that's wild.
That's wild.
That is a crazy stat.
Underneath it all, great Colin Ray start. Six and two
Yeah.
thirds, one hit, one earned, four strikeouts. Move to game two. Cardinals win 8-6. Thomas JC opened the scoring with a two-run single before Michael frickin' Bush, all-star snub, hitting his 18th home run of the year.
We
The
need
only
like two all-star teams, I guess.
I know, but these guys deserve it. I mean, Michael Bush after this weekend, he's got a 162 WRC plus. You have to find a way
Yeah,
to
we
put
need
that guy
two
in the
for
All
each
Star
league,
game.
I think.
Sorry, say it
Yeah,
again.
I know it is crazy. He came on really late, but not came on really late. He's been good all year, but he's really went into like God
Hyperdrive.
mode the
Yeah,
last couple weeks.
it's tough. These guys who go crazy recently, and then they're
Like
snubs,
Rafaela,
and
same
then the
thing.
fans start to freak out, and for good reason, right? They're seeing a guy who looks
Yeah.
like an all star and should be, and you look at the full season numbers right now, and he absolutely should be, but it is tough. Cubs would battle back and retake the lead, highlighted by a Carson Kelly home run. Cardinals would not be denied, though, as Burleson homered. Gorman tied it up with an RBI single, and Yoel Pozo hit a three-run home run for the dagger. And right now, it is 8-0 Cardinals after 3 innings. Matt Boyd shoving 7 punchies in 3 innings. Eric Fetty did not have a fun day at the ballpark, and neither did John King. Um, what happened? Just an onslaught. No dingers, just everybody hitting. I mean, Tucker. Pete Crow Armstrong, Seiya Suzuki, Michael. I mean, the regular guys. Nico Horner is crushing. They're just doing Cubs shit where they just
Yeah.
overwhelm you with offense. I love this Cubs team so much.
Oh, I mean, they are one. I think if you could pick a team to play on national TV, like most nights, I would take them because you're going to get an offensive just barrage. You're going to get some really impressive defensive plays, and then maybe the pitching staff will give up some runs too. So you get a little bit from both sides. But I want to just shout out Yohel Pozo, one of the weirdest batted ball profiles I've seen through 30 games, like ever.
I mean, he's a
And it's
weird looking
so fun.
athlete, but it's the peak male
He,
performance kind of guy.
90% in zone contact with a 45% chase rate has resulted in 81 plate appearances, 26 hits, and one walk. He's a 1% walk rate and a 6% K rate. Um, he hits everything in the air also at the same time, which is nuts. You don't really see that from a super aggressive, high end zone contact guy. But like wild profile, but ride the wave. Like he's giving you big hits here and there, especially off the bench. I think like 4 consecutive games he has like he's pinch hit, and I think in 3 of them he has a knock. It's been funny to watch him play. He's been a nice little piece for them, but I mean, look out for this Cubs offense, man. They absolutely rake, and if they presumably even may want to add to the offense, that's crazy. I hope Shaw gets going here so they don't do that, but if they want to do that, holy crap, it gets even more nuts. But yeah, the Cubs are in a really good spot right now, and you imagine they hold on to the game 3 win here. That's another impressive series from them.
Here's my issue with sometimes my hyperbole. If I say the Twins offense is really good, what does that make the Cubs? Are there
Exactly.
words to describe the Cubs offense if I think
No,
the Twins
it
offense
doesn't
is really good?
exist.
Yeah, it doesn't
No,
exist. That's my
doesn't
issue.
exist.
I'm working on it. I'm a work in progress podcaster. I get hyped about teams, and I do. But yeah, the Cubs are just again. I don't have any
I hope
words
they
for
let
them.
Michael Bush face lefties more now too. After that three
Yeah.
home run game, they let him face a lefty. He went deep off a lefty. Matthew Liberatore, who I don't think had given up a home run to a lefty yet this year. If he did, it was like one of very few. Um, let this guy continue to face lefties now and see what he can do, because ultimately that's going to open things up a lot more for you.
Also, sneaky narrative in this game. The Cardinals are not playing good baseball right now. I mean, they're not playing bad baseball,
They're
but they just
cooling
got
off
off.
a little bit.
They had a terrible series, and then this Cubs series. I mean, the Cubs just. I mean, it was good to see the Cardinals get one win.
Well,
It's
they
not like
they
they're
got
playing.
they got shut out for an entire series, right, against
Yeah,
Pittsburgh.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
not
they're
great.
still 48 and 42. I'm not sounding any alarm bells. They're still a good team. The reason why I'm focusing on that and I want to bring it up is this team is like teetering on buy and sell just because Heim Bloom's going to take over. It's almost like they want to rebuild so bad. Like they want to get there. They want to trade assets, but Mozeliak is like, we can't do it yet. We can't do it yet. We might be good. And they are good. But in the next few weeks, like this
That's
is one of the
important,
teams that I think is most fascinating come deadline.
no
Because if they
doubt.
continue to falter, and let's say they're 500 at the deadline, we talked about them, but they ain't buying
They
anymore.
ain't buying at 500.
But
They got to be at least 5-6 over.
if they stay right where they are, they might buy. So that's why they are a team to watch as we approach the deadline.
I agree.
All right, let's go to Rangers versus Padres. Again, another series where the game first pitch is at 9 p.m. Eastern. So we don't have it yet, but we can recap 2 of the games. Padres went 3-2 in 10 innings in game one. Rangers' only runs came in the third inning as Semien roped a 2-run double, but it was all Padres from there as Manny Machado homered, and then Luis Arias tied the game with an RBI single. In the 10th, Cronenworth sent the Padres home happy with a walk-off single. And Randy frickin' Vasquez, dude. I mean, the underlying numbers say go to the minors, and the surface level numbers be like, are you like a beast? Are you really good? And just every day or every fifth day, it's another 6 inning, 2-run ball, only 3 hits allowed. I don't know how he's doing it. I really don't.
It's
He
it's
just
nuts.
keeps it right off the sweet spot of the barrel. It's just these cutters, and he finds that area where you're not going to square it up, but you're going to hit it hard enough, but it's at somebody. I keep thinking, when is it all going to fall off?
No,
I mean,
it may
dude,
not.
we're in July.
Yeah,
Like,
it just may not.
yeah. I am waiting for, and I don't want to pray on anybody's downfall. It's just the numbers say, and sometimes when a guy has this much prolonged success, he'll have one outing where it's like 2 innings, 14 earned, and then all of it comes back in like one start. That's kind of what I'm envisioning with Randy Vasquez, and then the rest are just going to be pretty good. All right,
I
let's move
mean,
to game two. Oh
he's
yeah,
holding it down for now. Three walks and 1K is just but he keeps doing that and it works. So we'll see. But I gave up on trying to figure it out.
yeah. I don't know what's going on. Game two, Rangers win 7-4. Josh Smith opened the scoring with a solo shot, but Cronenworth did him one better in the second, a 2-run home run. Rangers came storming back, highlighted by a Kyle Higashioka home run and an RBI hit in the next inning for him, and then a sac fly 2 innings later for Higgy. A late rally by the Padres wasn't enough, as Higgy added another RBI hit in the eighth for some breathing room. And freaking Patrick Corbin, talk about pitchers I don't understand. Corbin, 6 innings, 2 earned. His ERA is at 4.18. Incredible. Incredible. But again, this is a series I don't really have that many takeaways on because it's like, I know the Padres are good. I didn't learn anything though. The Rangers are,
No.
they have upside, but they just don't put it together consistently. And that's what I felt like in this series, right? They could have easily won game one. They don't. Then they win game two, and let's see what they do in game three. It's kind of similar to the Royals and the Dbacks. It's not like these teams, the Rangers are disappointing, the Padres aren't, but I didn't learn anything. Did you?
Uh, no, not really. It's the main takeaway I have is just that Luis Arias looks like he's heating up, and they need Arias to be that 300 hitter for them. I think that would be quite huge. So 2 knocks, then 4 knocks. We'll see what he does in that game three. But no, I don't have any major takeaways one way or another really in this series. But obviously, game three could change that a little bit.
We'll see. All right, let's move on to Giants versus A's. Game one, A's went 11-2. A's jumped all over Verlander early. Brent Rooker had an RBI hit he actually had 2 RBI hits by the second inning. And both Max Muncy and Jake Wilson recorded RBI doubles. A's just continued to pile on. This game was over quick, highlighted by home runs from Nick Kurtz and Denzel Clark. Denzel Clark went yard 471 feet. Shout out to 3 people who took him to hit the longest home run for the Friday
Yeah,
BetMGM long shot promo. They split over $33,000 in bonus bets. That's incredible.
it's
Like, who picked
crazy.
Denzel Clark in that promo? And they hit it. What a hit. What a hit. Brett Wisely added a home run for the Giants in the eighth, but this game was over because JP Sears was awesome, and the Giants' struggles against lefties continue. 6 shutout innings, only allowing 3 hits and striking out 6. But in game two, Logan Webb said, "Get on my back." But the offense was great too. Willie Adames opened the scoring with a 2-run single and then added another 2-run single in the third. That was all San Francisco needed. Heliot Ramos homered late for good measure, but Logan Webb, 6 2/3, 2 earned, 6 punchies. His ERA is down to 2.62. This version of Logan Webb is so much fun to watch because Logan Webb in the past, like he's always been good. He's always been fantastic, right? But it's because he's rocking a 63% ground ball rate. He's skating by with a 19-20% strikeout rate, but he truly is a ground ball wizard. But this year, still rocking a 55% ground ball rate, but the strikeout rate has ballooned up to 27%. He's putting those two things together, and he's having the best season that he has had, and he's had great seasons in the past.
It's been fun, and it does elevate this team when you can trust Logan Webb. I mean, you can always trust him, but when you can trust him to get some whiff now too, I think that is a huge wrinkle because in the playoffs, like I want a guy that can get the big strikeout when he needs it. I think that's a guy that he looks like now instead of a guy that again I still would trust in big spots, but I think someone that you could see dominate, just absolutely take over a game with the ability to get ground balls and swing and miss now, whereas before it was a little bit more ground ball heavy. It's really fun. He's still balancing that, but I think with the Arsenal adjustment, you're seeing the ground ball rate drop a little bit, but still 53%, and then the strikeout rate way up. This is a guy that could absolutely take over games. He has been this year. He's been fantastic. It's been fun to watch, and at 28 years old, it seems like he's just still finding things out about himself and his arsenal to just unlock a little bit more. The other thing that I think has been huge and was huge in this series for them is Willie Adames continuing to heat up. Last 13 games entering Sunday, hit 356 with a 956 OPS. And then you have, I think, 2 of his last 3 games are 3-hit contests before Sunday. We'll see how he does then. But it's been nice to see him get going now, a guy that obviously they really need, especially with the injuries that they have going on. to really just jolt them a little bit. I think it really enhances their outlook if Willie Adames is playing, at his capabilities or even close to it.
To wrap up, where are you at on the Giants? Because I know you're a hit or miss on them. You're not the biggest fan. They are 48 and 42, right? But they've only won 4 of the last 10 games, right? We'll see how they play tonight. Where are you at?
I still think they need help. I offensively, I do think it tapers off. Um, yeah, especially with Jung Hoo Lee hitting a bit of a wall, Wilmer Flores hitting a bit of a wall. I think it's reasonable to wonder how much they're going to mash the rest of the year. Pat Bailey is close to a pitcher hitting for you right now. Like
Yeah.
I worry about after Elliot Ramos, now Willie Adames swinging it well. You know that Devers is going to get going. Outside of that, like who are the guys that you can really trust and lean on all year long?
Chapman's back.
Chapman's back. That helps. Outside of that, though, I am a little bit worried. But I think with Adamas heating up here and the pitching performances that they're getting, they're going to hang around for sure. I think they need to add. Otherwise, to me, they're just a 86 win team right now. So it's kind of what they look like to me.
I understand where you're coming from. So that'll do it for this episode of the Just Baseball Show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. And again, the best way to support, rate and review 5 stars, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and like, subscribe, comment on YouTube. Big time episode tomorrow with Aram and Jack, going over all the All-Star rosters, all of the snubs. So be sure to check out that episode dropping Tuesday. That'll be our Tuesday episode. And then we got a lot of things planned for you guys. All-Star Weekend, we're going to be at Atlanta. It's going to be such a blast. We'll have more information on all of that. For Arm Layton, I'm Peter Apple. Hopefully everybody had a great 4th of July weekend. We're going to fill up your week schedule with baseball talk. And with that, thank you, everybody.